Yes, hello everyone, welcome to Lukmaan IS. Today we are going to have the Hindu analysis of 27th July 2022. First of all, we will take overview of all these articles that have appeared in today's The Hindu newspaper and they are relevant to our examination. So, and then we will discuss them in detail. So, first of all, mains related articles. On page number 7, there is one good article, Seeking to Destroy India's Civil Society. On page number 6 editorial page, they are not relevant articles per se for our mains examination specifically. This article talks about the importance of civil society and how let's say with the help of several laws like Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, along with that Prevention of Money Laundering Act, these two laws, how they have been used by the present government to curb the rights of civil society organizations. So, all these aspects we will cover here from the GS2 paper governance part. Then there is one article on first page, Can Promises of Irrational Poll Freebies Be Curbed? Supreme Court asks central government. Okay, there is one petition in the Supreme Court talking about declaring all these promises which are made by the political parties or even the government before the elections. So, if suppose these promises are irrational in a sense, they are not going to be fulfilled on the basis of the economic aspect, then they should be declared illegal. So, this is the petition and the Supreme Court is seeking view of the central government. So, it should be covered from GS2 paper polity part. We will have follow up on this issue because this freebie issue is since this Punjab elections and the AAP government came in power, and from that time many articles appeared in newspaper. So, it is relevant to our examination. Now, from prelims perspective, the most important development from environment section, India adds 5 more Ramsar sites, 3 such sites from Tamil Nadu state, 1 site from Mizoram and 1 site from Madhya Pradesh. We will find out the names and we will simply get to know some basic information about all these Ramsar sites in India. Last year in this prelims examination or this year's prelims examination, there was match the following type of question asking about these Ramsar sites and their location in which states. So, that is why it is very important for our examination from mapping perspective here. Then light mantle albatross, this is the bird species endemic to the Antarctic region, but it has been sighted in Rameswaram near the Park Strait in Tamil Nadu for the first time. Okay, so this has amused the researchers and first such sighting has been done, and the reasons for arrival of such bird 5,000 kilometers away from its natural habitat, the climatological reasons have been mentioned. We should cover this part here. Then Russia to leave International Space Station ISS after 2024, focus on building its own space station. Okay, so we will cover up basics about ISS also. Then D8 Organization for Economic Cooperation, okay, or Developing 8. So, what is this particular organization? International Relations. From IR section they ask question related to these international organizations. So, we will cover the basics of this particular organization. Finally, some practice prelims MCQ. So, first let us go in detail of this article on page number 7. Very good article and students should themselves also read this article. Yes. So, first of all, we should understand the civil society organizations. See, civil society organization is broader term. It also includes one of the component is NGO or self-help groups, or we can say that several other such organizations which are community led organizations. We can say they have common objective and they seek to facilitate, we can say, common public interest. Common public interest. Now, what is the significance of civil society organization in governance? Now, we know that governance is basically utilization and mobilization of the resources of the country to ensure welfare of the public. Traditionally, the governance was seen from the perspective of economic growth and development, but nowadays the governance has shifted to trust building by the government among the people, and one of the major aspect for that is civil society organization. Okay, facilitating the role of civil society organization is one of the aspect of governance. As we always talk about this triangle whenever we talk about governance: public sector, private sector and civil society organization. So it is governance. Fine. So this is the basic. Now what is the significance of civil society organizations? Now civil society organizations play a very important role, like they act as a link between government and the people in terms of implementation of the government schemes. Implementation of government schemes, as we understand that the government's reach in the people is less compared to all these civil society organizations, NGOs. They have good reach in the remote areas, so they can implement the government scheme or facilitate the implementation of that scheme. They also provide important feedback to the government so that government can make some policy changes. They also act as a think tank. It acts as we can say as an input for effective policy formulation and implementation. So these are some important, we can say. There are several other significant points also, but that is not the focus of this article. Just you should be aware about the significance of civil society organization. But recently what we are observing in last 5 to 10 years, the role of civil society organizations is being curbed, especially through certain legislations like this one, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act 2010. Before that, in the start of the article, there is one context mentioned here. Present National Security Advisor, while addressing 73rd graduation ceremony of National Police Academy, all those IPS probationers, so they were warned by NSA that civil society was the new frontier of war. Government itself considers civil society as new frontier of war. From this, it is very much clear that how government perceives this third sector of the governance. Then let us understand how this acts. They are creating the problem here for these civil society organizations. So this Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, which was comprehensively amended in 2010, it seeks to regulate the foreign contribution received by all these NGOs in the country. Okay, so how it seeks to do that? NGOs need to renew their license every 5 years now. But if we talk about some facts here, around 16,692 NGOs were denied registration between last 7 years. Then recent amendment in 2020 passed without parliamentary deliberation. Less administrative spending is to be done now. Only 20% is to be done on administrative spending, and 80% should go to the intended purpose of that NGO, the working of that NGO. So if we talk about this, again it reduces the overall, we can say, working motivation, because if we, let's say, NGOs start giving very less salaries, administrative expenses means basically salaries also, it includes salaries. So it reduces the incentives for people to work in this sector. Foreign accounts to be hold in only single SBI branch in Delhi. So it is basically increasing the compliance requirements. So again, it is the NGOs are facing lot of problems. We have seen during the first wave of pandemic, basically the deadline for opening the account was there. They faced lot of problems. Then reduced government grants to NGOs. So domestic funding to the NGOs has also been reduced here. Okay, so this aspect should be also understood, and the government indirectly targeting those NGOs which are working for rights of minorities and workers. Minorities and workers. Okay, so like for example Oxfam, which was specifically working on the migrant workers, so its license was simply not reviewed. Okay, many other NGOs which are working for the welfare and protection of rights of minorities, they have their let's say license have been suspended. In recent times, Prevention of Money Laundering Act is also being misused against certain politicians and we can say NGOs also, social activists also. Like for example, ED was used to attack NGOs such as Amnesty International and Center for Equity Studies. So whose head is Harsh Mandar. So he is noted personality in civil society organizations sector, we can say. And yes, the actions are being taken against such noted, internationally noted, we can say, NGOs. So this suggests that the government is curbing the rights of civil society organizations. But in the end, you should understand that, like for example, this question, even though civil society organizations have contributed to the constitutional frame, they undoubtedly need to be regulated for defending those values. Examine. Now we have specifically added the command examine, because in the end you should also talk about the criticism of working of CSOs. What are the problems, challenges that we are facing from this third sector? So you should here mention about the accounting standards, poor accounting standards. Okay, so very low tax compliance, annual audit reports are not filed, lack of transparency in their working, how much funds they are getting, how they are getting used. So this is lack of transparency. Then along with that, anti-national activities are suspected. For example, IB report you can mention, it shows that many of the NGOs, they are working with anti-national agenda. For example, Kudankulam protest by this Amnesty International. Okay, so this shows that there is need. Then also we can say that funding to extremist activities, and we can say Naxalists, extremists. So this is, or funding to terrorist organization. So all these aspects needs to be taken into consideration, and that's why the appropriate amount of regulation is also required. This should be the way forward. Understood? So fine. Let us go on to discuss the next topic. Yes. Can promises of irrational polls, freebies be curbed? Supreme Court asks government. So there is one petition in Supreme Court which deals with irrational freebies announced by the government and other political parties before the election. Irrational in a sense that these state governments or these political parties, if they come to the power, whether they will be economically having such kind of resources to fulfill those freebies announced, promises announced before the election. So this is the question at present, and Supreme Court has asked Center to find out from the Finance Commission if there is a way to curb political parties from promising and distributing irrational freebies during the election campaigns. Here onwards we will have follow up on this, what Supreme Court, what government will submit the reply to the Supreme Court on this issue. So you should be aware about what is going on in this part of polity section. India adds 5 more Ramsar sites. So specifically for prelims examination, which are these 5 Ramsar sites, newly added Ramsar site? Yes. So Karikili Bird Sanctuary, Pallikaranai Marsh Forest, Reserve Forest, and Pichavaram Mangrove, Tamil Nadu. Okay, so this Pallikai Marsh Forest, it is in Chennai. This Pichavaram is near Cuddalore district. And this Karikali bird sanctuary is, we can say, near Chennai, but we can say around 50 to 80 kilometers from the Chennai. And this it is bird sanctuary or important bird area. It is declared as important bird area of Tamil Nadu already. Then Sakya Nagar in Madhya Pradesh near Jhansi or west of Jhansi. We can say that this is in Madhya Pradesh, but Jhansi is in UP. Sakya Nagar, and then the Pala wetlands in Mizoram. Okay, so the photograph given in PIB that we have added here. Now you should be knowing that already we had 49 Ramsar sites, and now the total figure is 54 Ramsar sites spread over 11,000 square kilometers, around 10% of total wetland area in the country across 18 states. This fact is also important. No other South Asian country has so many Ramsar wetland sites. Then UK has the highest number, 175. Then Mexico, most number of sites, whereas Bolivia spans the largest area under the convention protection. Bolivia in South America. Now, definition of wetland by the Ministry of Environment. So, yes, we all know that marsh, fen, peatland or water, whether natural or artificial, permanent or temporary, with water that is static or flowing, fresh, brackish or salt water, including areas of marine water, of which depth which at low tide does not exceed 6 meter. Okay, but does not include river channels. See, what wetland does not include? River channels, paddy fields, human-made water bodies, tanks specifically for drinking water purpose, structures specifically constructed for aquaculture, salt production, recreation, irrigation purpose. These are not included or does not fall under the criteria of wetlands. Also, to be declared as Ramsar site, it must meet at least one of the 9 criteria as defined by the Ramsar Convention of 1971. In today's The Hindu newspaper, they have given the wrong year of Ramsar Convention as 1961. You corrected it as 1971. Ramsar Convention happened in 1971 in Ramsar, one of the city in Iran. This was implemented since 1975, got into effect in 1975, and at present now in India there are 54 Ramsar sites. So simply you should be revising all those 54 Ramsar sites on the map. Okay, so that is your task, homework we can say, because every year UPSC is asking such question. Briefly, one let's say informative chart is given in the newspaper. Pallikaran marshlands, only marshland in the city to be declared as Ramsar site. We are talking about this Chennai city, spread over 700 hectares, 50% of it is reserve forest or protected area. More than 190 species of birds including 7 raptors. Now, Karikali Bird Sanctuary located 10 km from Vedantingal Bird Sanctuary and 85 km from Chennai. Okay, so presence of more than 5,000 birds and ducks from Central Asia during winter arrive in this. Then Pichavaram mangroves, one of the largest mangroves in Tamil Nadu. It is also considered as second largest mangroves in India after Sundarbans. Yes, it is in Cuddalore district, act as a natural bioshield, especially against the storm surges during the tropical cyclones and during the tsunami waves. This is spread over 1,357 hectares, has species more than 175 species of birds. Okay. Rare flight of Antarctic's light mantle albatross in Tamil Nadu. Okay, so you can see how it looks like, and the natural habitat of this albatross, this bird, is in Antarctic, but it has crossed the equator and reached to the northern tropical areas in India. So that's why researchers are concerned and very much intrigued. Yes, This was found near Rameswaram and Gulf of Mannar. Researchers feel that the change in atmospheric pressure could have been among the reasons for albatross to land in Indian shores. Okay, so how it works out? Simply one should understand the birds use the wind or wind direction, wind speed to migrate from one place to other place, and as we are witnessing the climate change, the frequency of changes in the wind direction and the pressure changes, atmospheric pressure changes is also increasing, and because of that the birds may be reaching to the farther distances instead of reaching to their regular destination. This is the researchers are expressing their view. Now this light mantle albatross with broad pelagic habits maintains circumpolar distribution in southern ocean. ठीक है, तो वहाँ के जो islands है वहाँ पे वो मिलता है. And IUCN Red Data Book categorizes it as near threatened species. Okay, near threatened species. Remember this information. Every year UPSC asks the framing of the question is like, which of the following is the bird species, which of the following is the fish species. Such kind of questions are, and we do not in generally can know about the names. Like this light mantle albatross, suppose the word is mentioned, we do not know whether it is species of bird or let's say the fish or mammal or anything. Okay, so simply we need to have specific information about it. Okay, now Russia to leave International Space Station after 2024, focus on building its own space station. Okay, so yes, it will pull out from 2021. Already we know that Russia and other Western countries including US, they are having some geopolitical tensions due to this Russia-Ukraine war that is going on, and we can say that the repercussions are in the other areas like this space cooperation. Now basics of this International Space Station. This space station was joint mission of the space agencies of 5 countries. We can say US, Europe, Japan, Canada and Russia. Okay, again I will repeat, US, Europe, Japan, Canada and Russia. The first piece of this ISS was put in orbit in 1998 and it has continuously inhabited for nearly 22 years. It is used to conduct scientific research in zero gravity and test out equipments for further future space journeys. Okay, so for last 22 years this has been inhabited by one or more than one astronauts. It typically has crew of 7 who spend months at a time aboard the station as it orbits about 400 km from the Earth. Okay, so it is in low Earth orbit, we can say 400 km. Then 3 Russians, 3 Americans and 1 Italian are on the board at present. So this information is sufficient. Now Bangladesh seeks $4.5 billion IMF loan as reserve shrinks. This is in news, but we should understand the Bangladesh minister was addressing this grouping, D8 nations or D8 organizations for economic cooperation. Okay, developing 8 countries. It is also known as developing 8. It is an organization for development cooperation among the following countries. Which are these 8 countries? You can see Bangladesh, Egypt, Indonesia, Iran, Malaysia, Nigeria, Pakistan and Turkey. So you can see that out of these countries 60% population is Muslim population. This is also one of the reason, and along with that they are developing countries. They have common problems and they want to do some kind of economic cooperation. Especially Iran and Nigeria, they have oil reserves. Other countries seek oil imports from these countries. So in this manner you should know, right? Then it started working from 1997 through Istanbul Declaration. Istanbul is also headquarter of this organization. Now, the summit, which is convened every 2 years, has the highest level of authority and is composed of leaders of each member state. Then there is council, the principal decision making body and forum for consideration of issues, and the commission is executive authority. So this is the architecture, we can say, or simply the decision making authorities in this international organization. Understood? Yes. Now, on the basis of this information, simply we can attempt this question. Yes, what should be answer to this question? Yes. So you can see that the options this year UPC has also framed the options like this. So we have also changed the pattern of framing the options for these MCQs, especially match the following. So yes, recently 5 new Ramsar sites were added into the list from India. Consider the following pairs with reference to it. Okay, so we have to identify the correctly matched pairs and we need to have exact information about them. Yes, Karigeli Bird Sanctuary, Tamil Nadu, this is correct. Then Sakhya Sagar, yes, Madhya Pradesh, this is also correct. Then Pala Wetlands in Mizoram, this is also true. Pichavaram Mangroves, Andhra Pradesh. So this is incorrectly matched. Okay, it is, we should know that it is Tamil Nadu. Pichavaram Mangrove Forest, it is in Tamil Nadu, not in Andhra Pradesh. So how many pairs mentioned above either are correctly matched? 1, 2, 3. So 3 pairs only. So C is the correct answer in this case. So this is how we have to approach to these questions. We cannot guess in these questions. We cannot use the elimination method also. If we do not have exact information, we cannot attempt such kind of questions. So be prepared with accurate knowledge of whatever we are reading, or let's say the question that is asked. Fine. So yes, these are the important articles. One small announcement, you may be knowing that at Lukmaan IAS we have started the all year integrated prelims mains integrated test series, or we can say that answer writing program, Takkar. Right, so it has 4 phases and the first phase has already begun in the previous week. And this the comprehensive preparation for your prelims as well as mains examination will be done here, because now looking at the question papers of prelims examination, one cannot simply say that I will start the preparation from January month and I will complete in 4-5 months. So you should be always in touch in solving MCQs and you should have appropriate timetable. Now we have prepared that timetable for throughout your preparation till next mains examination 2023, and you can visit our website and you can go through that timetable, and if you feel that this is your timetable, this is your plan, you join this. Because one more advantage that I would like to highlight is the fees for this course is very nominal as compared to what you get in the other, we can say, institutions. Yes, this is also one of the highlight, and yes, surely you will benefit from this program if you join this. Fine, thank you.
Welcome to Lukmaan IAS. Study general studies with Lukmaan IAS for building comprehensive knowledge. GS paper 2 and 4 will be taken by S. Ansari and other papers will be covered by renowned faculties. Live classes are as effective as offline classes. The classes are highly interactive in nature. Your doubts and queries will be addressed and there will be dictation of notes. In the last 10 years, Lukmaan IAS has set up a niche in the field of UPSC guidance.